My nosy neighbor kept insisting she hears a woman's voice in our house when I wasn't home and insisted that my husband is cheating. But I can't go back to our house when I found out who it was. My neighbor, Dolores, knocked on my door again on Thursday morning, holding my mail that got delivered to her by mistake. "Your husband's seeing someone," she said, not even waiting for me to invite her in. I keep trying to figure out who she is, but I can't tell you because I don't know her name yet. I forced a laugh, taking the envelopes from her weathered hands. Roy barely leaves the house except for his night shifts at the plant. When would he have time for an affair? Dolores pushed past me into my kitchen. "That's what they want you to think. But I see things, Lynn. I've lived next door for 30 years. I know when something's wrong." She'd been saying this for 2 weeks now, ever since Roy started working overtime. Always vague accusations, never any proof. I poured her coffee just to move the conversation along. "You said you see things. Like what exactly?" "He comes home at strange hours. Sometimes I hear voices from your house when you're at work." She leaned forward, lowering her voice. "Female voices." My chest tightened, but I kept my expression neutral. "That's probably just the TV. Roy likes to have it on for background noise when I'm not home." Dolores shook her head slowly. "TVs don't laugh like that. TVs don't have conversations that stop the moment your car pulls into the driveway." That afternoon, I left work early without telling Roy. I parked down the street and walked to my house, staying close to the hedges. Through the living room window, I could see Roy sitting on the couch. He was talking animatedly, gesturing with his hands, smiling at someone I couldn't see from my angle. I crept closer to the window. Roy stood up and walked toward the kitchen, still talking, but there was no one else in the living room, no one on the other couch, no one anywhere I could see. He was having a full conversation with empty air. My phone buzzed. A text from Dolores. "She's there right now. I can hear her." I stayed frozen outside for 20 minutes, watching Roy move through the house, sometimes laughing, sometimes listening intently to nothing. When he started setting the table for 3 people instead of 2, I finally went inside. "Hey, honey," Roy called out cheerfully. "You're home early. I was just telling Sandra about your promotion at work." My blood went cold. "Who's Sandra?" Roy's face went blank for a moment, then he laughed. "Sorry, I was on the phone with my sister." Bluetooth earpiece. He tapped his ear, but there was nothing there. That night I couldn't sleep. Roy lay beside me, breathing steadily, occasionally murmuring words I couldn't make out. Around 2 a.m. I heard footsteps in the hallway. Light, careful steps that weren't Roy's heavy tread. I held my breath, listening. The footsteps stopped outside our bedroom door. "Roy?" I whispered. He didn't move beside me. The footsteps continued down the hall. The next morning, Dolores was waiting on my porch. "I figured it out," she said, gripping my arm. "I know why I can't tell you who she is." "Why?" My voice came out strangled. "Because she doesn't want you to see her. But Lynn, I need to show you something." She led me to her backyard, to the spot where our fence had a small gap. "I took pictures through your windows last night when I heard the voices again." She handed me her phone. The first photo showed our living room, Roy clearly visible on the couch, but there was something else, a shadow that didn't match anything in the room. The next photo was zoomed in on Roy's face. He was looking at something beside him, his expression tender, intimate. The third photo made me drop the phone. There was a figure next to Roy, translucent, barely visible, but undeniably human-shaped, female-shaped, and in the place where its face should be, there was only darkness. "She's been here longer than you have," Dolores whispered. "I remember her from before you moved in. The previous owner's wife. She died in that house 15 years ago." I ran back home, burst through the door. Roy was in the kitchen making breakfast. 3 plates set out, 3 cups of coffee steaming on the counter. "Where is she?" I demanded. "Where's who?" Roy tilted his head, confused. "Sandra, the woman you've been talking to. The one who's been in our house." Roy's face went pale. He set down the spatula very slowly. "Lynn, how do you know that name?" "Because Dolores told me. Because I saw the photos. Because I watched you talking to thin air yesterday." Roy sank into a kitchen chair. "She said you weren't ready. She said you wouldn't understand yet." "Who said that?" He looked up at me with hollow eyes. "The woman who lived here before. She says she never left. And Lynn, she says you can see her too."